Welcome, students, to ACT Prep. I'm going to do my very best to give you some of these instructional videos for all of these ACT practice sections. However, I don't always have the time to make them. This one is going to be slightly longer because I'm going to share a few things with you that I haven't shared with you yet. So first off, on the English section, it's 75 questions of grammar in 45 minutes. You're given 5 passages riddled with grammatical errors, and it's your job to fix them. If you want more evidence that the ACT test makers are sadistic people who hate happiness and children, just look no further than the English section of the ACT. Um, so you're going to have to learn how to manage your time. So that means on average, you get 9 minutes per section, which is why I'm recommending that you set your timer for 9 minutes. Now, if you're not making it in the 9-minute deadline, that's fine. Over the next couple of weeks, set that timer and see if you can get it down to 9 minutes. If you're taking more than 9 minutes, continue answering all of the questions to go through the exercises and still do the thinking, but do your best over the next 2 months to work it down to 9 minutes per passage. So I have you answering, I don't know if it's going to be better on this or answering directly here. I'll get your feedback on that, but there are some advantages to answering it in the Google Forms. So here's what I recommend doing. Split your screen, go Windows left. Oh, and I've got all my other stuff, so I'll close that out. And then pull this out and go Windows right. And then the nice thing about this is you can read the passage here and then scroll through it this way. And you don't have to keep scrolling up and down, which was bothersome in the past. Also, I have a record of how you're doing and exactly which questions you're missing. So that's what I recommend. Now, a few strategies for this. Number one, I highly recommend reading the passage all the way through before answering any of the questions. Here's why. There are multiple questions on the English ACT that you cannot answer effectively without reading the passage in its entirety. Yes, you can answer one, number two, out of context, but there are other questions that you can't answer well unless you've read the entire passage. For example, let me give you some of those. Number 10. Oh, let me go. I guess I don't need to do that. Let me scroll down to number 10. I can just scroll down right here. If the writer were to delete the phrase coordinating the timing and pitch of their instruments from the preceding sentence, the sentence would primarily lose. You can't really answer that question well without understanding the passage in its entirety. There's a better example of this, number 12. For the sake of the logic and coherence of the paragraph, sentence 4 should be placed where it is now, before sentence 1, after sentence 1. So you'll also see that they are numbered right around here. If you have a piecemeal understanding of the passage just because you've been going number 9, answering, you're not going to be able to answer that effectively. Also, I think you noticed on last week's, there was a question that said, if the writer's purpose were to blank, did the writer accomplish that purpose? Yes or no? You can't answer that question if you haven't read it in its entirety. So I recommend taking the time up front, reading the passage all the way through, and then answering the questions well. All right, so now I want to go over some questions that will help you do better on these and what to look for. Every single ACT test, English task, will ask the difference between it's and it's, there, and there. Know the difference between the three of those, those different terms. I will put a link down at the bottom of this. Get it through your head. Do not miss the it's, and there, and there. It's so easy to get those correct. There's going to be a link down in the bottom of this. Now, numbers 5, 6, and 8 all have to do with verb tense, subject-verb agreement. So let's take a look at those and see how they look on the ACT. Because if you get down subject-verb agreement and know how ACT is testing it, you're going to do a lot better. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. So each pipe is individually rolled to create the proper pitch before being bound to other pipes. So your job is to select the correct verb tense. It's being bound, being binded, being bound, been bound. Make it all match. If the sentence is present tense, make it present tense. If it's all past tense, make it past tense. Sometimes they'll make it a little tricky with going, like you don't need to know all the present perfect, whatever it is, but just make it match. Whatever it is, it is. So just make sure it's all present tense. Number 6 is a little easier to share that, and I'll show you how it looks. So number 6, here is our verb right here. So evidence about how musicians played the instrument have come from painted images on ink and ceramic pottery. If you look at this one, number 6 right here, it's have come, are coming, comes, or come. All of those are grammatically correct. If this sentence in isolation, every single one of those works. So now we have to read a sentence above and a sentence below and figure out what tense it is and make it match. Make it match. That's my recommendation for you. The I don't know how to say this. The instrument dates back, so that's present tense. This one right here, musicians are depicted, so it's present tense. So select the correct verb to make it present, make it match. Number 9. The antera, I guess that's how you say it, was also sometimes held in one hand while the other hand beat if you're dyslexic like I am, a circle drum. All right, so we have beat right here. So if we look at this sentence, we've got to make it match. We've got a was here in one hand, was held. So we've got our two verbs. They're both past tense. So we've got to make it match, make it all past tense. So that's how subject-verb agreement is tested on the ACT. Now, I want to go over number 14. Number 4, oh my gosh, there are like 6 comma rules at the ACT tests. Number 14, choose the best answer. Let's scroll down to number 14. Yet one can hear the music of their descendants, beautiful, yet one can hear in the music of their descendants beautiful variations. Okay, this is the one where on the ACT English, I recommend less is more. If you can't immediately recognize what's being tested in the grammar with far as commas go or any punctuation, less is more. You do not need we have a subject and a predicate. You don't need to separate the subject and the predicate with a comma. You don't need to do that. So those are my recommendations. I will include a link to its and its, there, and there, and also verb, tense, subject, verb agreement. When you're done with this, go back to Canvas, and even though you've put your answers in here, tell me how many correct you got in Canvas. That way I know you did it. I'm not going to go back and check this. I can always do it to verify just in case you are not being honest, but I'm going to trust you on this and tell me how many correct out of 15. I need your answers in Canvas. Feel free to reach out for me. Sorry this video is so long. Do a great job on the ACT. You will. You'll get better at this as you go. Take care.